Bergstrom, his first outing in Chelsea's goal for a number of months, but a really good performance. And again, in a difficult spell, because like you've already mentioned there, Fulham beat Chelsea 3-0 in the reverse fixture at the start of the season, the start of when this unbeaten run has gone since. So it's impressive that the character, and even here, getting to 3-2, all of a sudden, you think, okay, maybe you're nervy into it, but not a beat of it from Chelsea.
No, it's a big moment in the game, I suppose. Mothersill putting the cap on the victory at 3-2. A lot of teams fold. We know that, especially in a derby fixture. So they say real good mentality there to take maximum points.
Absolutely. The pitch has been under scrutiny the last 6 or 7 days, but it is in pristine condition for this evening's fixture. And we do come into this and we're looking at a certain number of players. Obviously, Chelsea have retained a number of brilliant players this summer, and especially this evening, where you think maybe you're not sure if one or two will go out on loan or do something a little bit different. But you look at the strength in the squad that Chelsea can select from. A number of players that do miss out this evening, but even in the starting 11, Sam, you're looking at Cesare Casadei, Dion Rankin, who's been an ever-present in the PL2 this season, Charlie Webster as well, Mason Burstow and Amari Hutchinson, who are both joint top goal scorers, Malik Mothersill, and obviously Josh Brookin, who takes the armband this evening ahead of Alfie Gilchrist, who's not in the side, and obviously Dion Rankin, obviously Bashir Humphreys, who's gone out on loan. So plenty of opportunity that will present itself this evening.
Yeah, and it's been a brilliant turnaround, hasn't it? I mean, the confidence was a little low, I would say, coming into this season, the players that have played regularly in the PL2. So that's been restored, no end. Doesn't half help when you have the calibre of players they've got to choose from this season. Obviously, Casadei, Hutchinson's two prime examples coming into the club, lifting the level. But it's been a brilliant run. It's been a brilliant turnaround after the late part of the summer. The early autumn, when they lost a few games and lost a few games heavily, and you just wondered if it was going to be another season where they weren't going to be in the higher echelons of the league table. So brilliant recovery, playing with real confidence right now. Hopefully there's no complacency tonight. I know there won't be from the staff, but hopefully the players start fast, get an early goal, and hopefully do the business. But that said, it's a bit of a resurgent West Ham side, but yeah, sitting low position in the table.
Absolutely right. Here is the team that Mark Robinson has selected this season. Lucas Bergstrom, Derrick Abu, Josh Brookin, captains aside, Zach Sturge, Dylan Williams, Charlie Webster, Dion Rankin, Cesare Casadei, Mason Burstow, Amari Hutchinson and Malik Mothersill. Harvey Vale, Jude Soon-Suk-Bell, Jaden Wareham, Juan Castillo and Teddy Kerr amongst the substitutes for Chelsea this evening. And in terms of our visiting 11 for tonight, one or two names to keep an eye on. Divin Mubama, who's been the top goal scorer for West Ham in the PL2 so far this season, and Freddie Potts as well, Sam, who is the son of Steve Potts, who's the assistant manager there at the moment. Also got a brother that plays for Luton as well. A very much a footballing family and a player to keep an eye on. Yeah,
absolute legend. His father, Dan Potts, has gone and had a really good career. There's a few, isn't there, at West Ham that, you know, there's Moncur as well, George Moncur, who's Leyton Orient now, I understand, John Moncur's son. So yeah, it's been quite productive going to a few of the sons of some famous fathers.
Absolutely, and there is a very well-trodden path, certainly for a man that plays in the centre of midfield, a very tidy midfielder, a holding midfielder at the base of what could be a 3 or potentially a 3-4-3, as we'll see him this evening. Because if you're looking at somebody like we have at Chelsea, there's a number of players you look at the path to follow. If you're a West Ham player playing in the middle of midfield coming through the academy, there's a certain Mark Noble that you've got to shadow, you've got to step out from at some point.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the perfect role models, haven't they? It's certainly in Mark Noble the last, 15 years or so. Now Declan Rice, you know, unbelievable players to watch, not only the way they conduct themselves on the pitch, the ability that they have in the midfield position, but the way they conduct themselves off the pitch. Real leaders, been great ambassadors for the club, and, you know, always seem to produce good midfield players. So we'll see how young Potts gets on this afternoon in a tough area up against Chelsea's two, Casadei and Webster. Really good against Fulham last time out.
Absolutely right. So West Ham do get us going this evening. Expect them to play with a 3-4-3 formation as opposed to Chelsea's slightly more dynamic in terms of a 3-4-1-2, more than a 3-4-3 potentially. But obviously we've seen the hybrid systems the last couple of weeks, and Chelsea played a back four and all sorts. But lovely interchange to start, and there's almost a trademark clip ball from Charlie Webster to release Amari Hutchinson. It's got Burstow if you can square it to him, and it's an early corner for Chelsea. Good positive start from the Blues, Chelsea.
And there's that pass. Mothersill, I thought, came short, came into feet. It's turned down the side of West Ham for Hutchinson, playing in the hole. And he just didn't get enough purchase on that cutback, that intended cutback for Mason Burstow, who's in a really good position.
Webster's corner. It's going to be an in-swinger from the far side. It's eventually half dealt with by West Ham. It goes back out to Webster. Defended well. He's Rankin. Ever present in the PL2 this season, Dion Rankin. Abu looks to float one in. It's a looping header from Mason Burstow. An early shot on target though, Sam.
That was a good effort. It's all he could do really, help it towards the far post. Plenty of power on the header. Quite comfortable in the end for the West Ham goalkeeper, but real encouraging start. It's going to be an incredibly attacking lineup, it would seem. Got two full-backs playing as outside centre-halves, as in Abu and Zach Sturge, so there's obviously a little bit of a problem in that department. You look at the substitutes bench as well, incredibly attacking. Three out-and-out forwards on there, not really a natural defender, so probably injuries and also that game last night in the Youth Cup has probably meant Mark Robinson's a little bit low on numbers in that department, but hopefully it's a night where Chelsea can win the game and win the game comprehensively. Absolutely right,
and Chelsea in under-18s Premier League action tomorrow morning as well. We'll have that for you on the fifth stand-up from 11 o'clock kick-off, and a number of those players that played in the Youth Cup last night, as you mentioned there, Sam, probably going to be in action again tomorrow morning. So it's not a situation that we're unused to solving here at Chelsea. Perhaps one or two players having to fill in positions outside their usual remit, but certainly stands you in good stead, I imagine, in terms of development.
Yeah, and the younger age groups as well probably would have been earmarked under 16s for this weekend because of the backlog of games. So it'd be a surprise to see too many of the side even in defeat last night. That will be rolled out for the entirety of the game tomorrow, so probably an opportunity for some either younger guys to get themselves into the mix and potentially play a little bit more regularly for the under-18s this season.
Here is Derrick Abu, who's playing, as Sam's already mentioned, slightly more central role than we're used to seeing him flying down this right-hand flank, but back in the day, Sam, it might have been a centre-forward that would have been playing at centre-half. Maybe it shows a slight difference in terms of the way that the team's set up, that we're not seeing a Mason Burstow having to do a job at centre-half and deal with longer balls forward. Yeah, no, the outside central defensive role has evolved, like many positions in the last 5 or so years. We'll wait and see if we maybe see those two stepping in. You're right, though, just when they're dropping in to defend, Dylan Williams is kind of dropping in to make himself a left-back. Dion Rankin's going in alongside the rest of the back four now to make a 5, but yeah, we've seen it work to great success, haven't we, in the first team. The shape shifting around depending on where the opponent has got the ball, depending who's in possession or not. Sawyer looking to break the line for West Ham, though, and sends out Divin Mubama onto this left-hand side. Brookings stands him up well, though. Hopefully Chelsea can deal with it on this occasion. Webster's so assured in possession. There's Williams to Hutchinson. Can't shrug off Via Forsen, but unfairly challenged according to the referee. Exactly the type of ball that he's going to prosper with today. Really wrapped into him from Williams. Lovely first little bit of involvement from the left wing back. Makes it so much easier for the player receiving the ball to get turned when the pace is on there. It's a wonderful pick out. Rankin looking to slide the ball into Hutchinson. He keeps it in play. Shifts one way, shifts the other. So tricky on the ball. Amari Hutchinson onto that favoured left foot. Looks to loop one towards the far post. It's all taken in the end by the goalkeeper. I'm surprised he just didn't take another touch infield. Space had opened up for him to potentially shoot towards the far side. Opted to cross and got a little bit too much height on it. Good positive start though from Chelsea. They in 5 minutes. You'd expect them to be on the ascendancy given their league position and their run of form. As we've already mentioned, it's a very different scenario to where the team were 12 months ago and looking over their shoulder for a very different reason. And all of a sudden 12 months changes, and like you mentioned, you know, Cesare Casadei and Amari Hutchinson coming into the side. Zach Sturge as well has been a brilliant addition over the summer, and now very much with eyes on the prize and title challenge between themselves and Manchester City. It's a little bit more convincing, a little bit more usual, but West Ham could be in for an early opportunity. It's a strike from Mubama, player that's got 5 goals already in PL2 this season. Already got minutes for the first team as well over the festive period. He came on as a substitute against Arsenal a day after Boxing Day for West Ham, so he's got a very bright future. They think a lot of him, and he's just rushed Bergstrom there into hastily lashing it clear, but wins the Chelsea throw-in.
Just a little bit over-elaborate trying to play out. Rizal with the pressure, and then the strike from Mubama, but comfortable for Bergstrom. Being an ex-striker, it's nice to see 2 out-and-out forwards up there in tandem together, and it gives Chelsea the option to do what we've just seen there, to play a little bit longer, rather than entice West Ham into pressurising them high.
Ranking into Burstow, into the front post. Lovely step over there from Hutchinson, but couldn't find its way to Mothersill. It's rare that you see strike partnerships these days, Sam. Quite a lot of the time, you know, you've been asked to do it as a one up front on their own, but you see that partnership between Mothersill and Burstow certainly developing over the last few weeks. Yeah, and we know Chelsea will try and play through the thirds. That is clear, but it gives them a nice little option. There's different ways to skin a cat and different ways to win football matches, and Mark Robertson clearly has 2 really talented front players, so why not put them out there from the off? I think it probably negates the abilities of Mothersill to play him wide. I've seen him play as a number 10, which he's done to good effect, but to see him and Burstow in tandem is probably a quite frightening sight for the opponent, and hopefully they can continue in the same vein they showed at Fulham. Could even bring the best out of players like Charlie Webster and Cesare Casadei in the middle of the park as well, who have got such an elaborate array of passing ability to be able to pick players out and find different options, and maybe gives them an opportunity to go a little bit more direct at times when you've got someone in the ability of Mason Burstow who can play aerially as well, when you've got players like Mothersill and Hutchinson that want to get in behind, but also when you've got players like Dion Rankin, who's been so good this season. You're giving him 2 options in the centre of the box rather than 1 to aim for. You'd argue you're getting the best out of the players around them that perhaps don't see the best in this system, if that makes sense. Yeah, if the ball goes wide, you know, whenever I played with other physical strikers, you know if you're covering the areas, and if one of you doesn't attack the ball, then invariably the other one will. And for the 2 midfield players, Hutchinson's going to be the option into feet, and then of course you're going to have willing runners in beyond physical targets of Burstow and Mothersill. So yeah, 2-pronged. Absolutely right, mate. Do apologise for this slight technical issue that we're having Kings Meadow at the moment. Just going to bring you the pictures for Chelsea versus West Ham in the PL2 as soon as possible. Just getting those fixed at the moment, but as it stands, still goalless as we approach the 9th minute of action here in PL2. The first one of the evening, of course. There are other games going on across the league position. Manchester City don't play until tomorrow night. If you are in a title race, Sam, and you are, you know, this is very important to a lot of the players that are involved, and you know, getting your hands on a PL2 trophy is a fantastic achievement at any period during your career, but also in terms of if you're playing first and you're setting the bar, would you rather be the team that does that rather than the one that's chasing, or does it not really matter this way into the season? Not this early, I would suggest, but it's going to be interesting. You know, when we get into February and the window's closed and the players are, not to say that they're not fully focused, but they know what the season looks like for them individually now. They're going to be at Chelsea, they're going to be in the PL2 side invariably, maybe going to be training with the first team on occasion. Yeah, I think that excitement will grow. You know, the opportunity to get their hands back on this trophy. See, it didn't happen last season, and it was a difficult season from their standards, but yeah, they'll be really enthused, I think, at the opportunity of winning something. You can see how much it's meant to the young players over the last decade or so, winning the big trophies consistently, and then you have to try and emulate what's been before, the likes of Mason Mount, Reece James, Tammy Abraham, the ones that just collected trophies, FA Youth Cups, and there's that internal pressure, I think, for every youth team under 18s and for the 21s as well. So it'd be great to see some silverware this year, and some unlikely silverware after the last 12 months, but they put together a brilliant run. Some big games coming up, some really big games. I know Liverpool and Arsenal and the like haven't maybe been that consistent, but they're still huge games, and every time they play against Chelsea, especially with an opportunity for Chelsea to win the whole thing this year, they'll be motivated. Absolutely right. Yeah, you mentioned that Chelsea's next 5 games: Blackburn Rovers away from home, Liverpool away from home, then Arsenal and Manchester United before Everton at home rounds off the next sort of month and a half's fixtures. And games will come thick and fast now. And like you mentioned, the players that once that window slams shut, and for some players, i.e. Harvey Vale, who so he cannot go out on loan again for another team in the English Football League system for the next 6 months or so. It's an opportunity to perhaps focus on this being your opportunity to impress, and especially, you know, we've seen injuries to the first team, and if there are 1 or 2 players that get injuries throughout the rest of the season, if you're a Harvey Vale or someone, it's very important to make your presence felt on the training ground every day.
Yeah, every time you go out there in these games, I'm sure there'll be someone from the first team there, multitude of people from the first team probably across this game tonight. So important every time that you pull on a Chelsea shirt that you produce. And what they've seen in the last few weeks is more and more opportunities being given to younger players. This has probably happened sooner than maybe Lewis Hall felt it would. He's been thrown in, done really well so far this season. Harvey Vale's had a taste of it last season, so yeah, they'll be motivated to go across to the first team pitch at Cobham and potentially get some minutes this season.
Can only apologise for the lack of pictures that you're seeing at the moment. We are having 1 or 2 technical difficulties for this one in the PL2, Chelsea versus West Ham. As it stands, West Ham have unfortunately taken the lead. Regan Clayton getting booked a minute before George Earthy has broken the deadlock. So West Ham are 1-0 to the good. Now, Chelsea fans, that might put you on edge a little bit, but it is important to say that this West Ham team were 2-0 up inside 12 minutes 7 days ago against Manchester United and finished on the losing side on that afternoon. It looks like we have, thankfully, been able to solve our issues, and we do have pictures back for you now. Yeah, unfortunately, West Ham United are 1-0 up at Kingsmeadow inside 12 minutes. George Earthy breaking the deadlock. But other than that, as you were, Lucas Bergstrom in goal, a back 3 for Chelsea for Derrick Abu, Josh Brooking as the captain, Zach Sturge, Dylan Williams, Charlie Webster, Cesare Cassidy and Dion Rankin as a midfield 4, and we'll come back to the front 3 after Mason Burstow, and Rankin's trying to tease one in towards the far post, and then a front 3 for Chelsea of Mason Burstow, Malik Mothersill and Murray Hutchinson playing in a sort of 10 role, a little bit behind them. For West Ham United, it's Heggie, Junior Robinson, Louis Al, Keenan Apia Forson, Calum Casey, Levi Liang, George Earthy the goal scorer, Freddie Potts, Divin Mubama, Kamari Sawyer and Regan Clayton. So yeah, just to recap you on proceedings here at Kingsmeadow this evening, West Ham United 1-0 to the good. George Earthy with the opening goal of the evening. Time for a Chelsea reaction then, Sam, and Dylan Williams, Zach Sturge exchanging passes here. Here goes Potts, looking back towards Earthy, the goal scorer. Pia Folsom. Clayton forced back by Rankin. There's Potts again. I have to apologise, the amount of times in my brain very much goes towards the Mark Noble, Declan Rice about him whenever he gets the ball, but Cassidy's brought down Junior Robinson there. It'll be a free kick. It's important now, I suppose, Sam, for the reaction for the next 10 or 15 minutes. As we mentioned, West Ham have been in this situation and been on the losing end of a PL2 game in the last week or so. Chelsea will take solace from that, but very much need to focus on the task at hand, which is getting back on the ball to start with.
Yeah, it's not happened too often, has it, for Chelsea over the last few weeks and months, so important to react. And West Ham have been a team that have been winning games, become used to winning games, just latterly. 3 wins in the last 4, yes, stretched out over the last couple of months, but still couldn't win a game for love nor money early part of the season, so they're in much better, confident mood. You don't want them to get a 2-goal deficit, so yeah, really important that Chelsea respond. Had a pretty bright start to the game. Looked like Hutchinson and the 2 front players were going to enjoy themselves again tonight, but going to have to come from behind.
Here's Rankin, back to the captain, Josh Brooking. West Ham's opener did come from this high press, preventing Chelsea to play out comfortably, and it was a nicely taken finish from George Earthy. Mark Robinson getting his team going again. read a wonderful piece of him in the week, Sam, of Mark Robinson, just his sheer joy at being involved in the Chelsea setup and how much it means to him as a coach, and first and foremost a Chelsea fan. And certainly as a Chelsea fan, if you know you've got a Chelsea fan in a position of power that's making decisions about the development for Chelsea Football Club, it's a good place to be.
Yeah, he knows the level, doesn't he? I mean, he worked wonders at FC Wimbledon. A number of those players made their way into the first team that he had within their academy. Of course, we're talking about a different level, different calibre of player, but a number of those players that made their bow in the FC Wimbledon first team sold for good money. I think a player went today to the Qatari team, I think Asal, who made his first team bow under Mark Robinson. Jack Redoni went off to Huddersfield last year for £700,000-800,000. So he certainly improves players, knows the local area incredibly well, and shown himself to be a really good tactician this season as well. So yeah, it's worked really well to this point, and yeah, Chelsea mad as well.
Certainly helps, doesn't it? If you're a young player that's coming through the academy, and obviously Chelsea have been very fortunate the past few years from a romantic element to have Derrick Abu's got himself in a little bit of bother there, but Bergstrom's able to pick the ball up. Kamari Sawyer tried something a little bit elaborate, but thankfully the Chelsea goalkeeper manages to get gloves on the ball. Yeah, if you're a Chelsea player that's been at the club for a number of years as a young player, you see Mason Mounts of the world and Reece Jameses and players that are in the first team making an impression week to week. And you've got a coach that's as Chelsea mad as you are. Certainly that feeds into your energy on a training pitch Monday to Friday. Here is Zach Sturgeon, Dylan Williams very nearly lead Charlie Webster into trouble, but Lucas Bergstrom, who spent the first half of the season on loan to Peterborough. It's a lovely clip ball over the top, looking for Robinson. Does really well as well to keep hold of it. It's a looping cross towards Sawyer. It's a good strike as well, but it's a good block from Derrick Abu, and now Amari Hutchinson can get Chelsea cooking the other way. Lovely feet from Hutchinson. Foul on Malik Mothersill there from Casey.
He got in a little bit too easily there again. It was a good block in the end from Derrick Abu. Just came in field looking to get the strike away. For a moment, Dion Rankin was just caught up the pitch. There's that previous incident there, little tug back on Malik Mothersill. Definite free kick.
Come on, your energy, come on!
Chelsea bench just urging the players to be a little bit more lively and getting proceedings underway again, but time is very much on their side. Just 18, clicking into 19 minutes played here at Kingsmeadow. West Ham still 1-0 to the good, with George Earthy's opener inside 12 minutes. Sturge does really well. Here's Sawyer. Good feet. Cassidy and Webster between them can deal with it for Chelsea, and straight away Charlie Webster looking to get Mason Burstow racing down the other end. It's a teasing cross as well towards Mothersill.
Superb play, really was, and that's the option that Charlie Webster has tonight when he can get turned. Brilliant, unselfish running from Mason Burstow, and doesn't get better than that. It's absolutely perfect. Mothersill has got to do better than that. He gets there, he's at the near post, he gets a firm enough header on the ball, just couldn't direct it onto the target. But in terms of the approach play, perfect. Centre-halves are going to be running back towards their own goal. They're going to be in a game tonight, unquestionably. Really good strike play from Burstow.
Mubama, it's a lovely sweeping pass towards Sawyer. It's got Clayton on the overlap if he can find him, but Rankins shut that option off. Rankin does really well again. Quick feet from Hutchinson. Looking for that ball over the top. Could be a chance here if Mothersill can get it under his spell, which he can. Crowded out in the end by 3 or 4 West Ham bodies.
And what you got now is a clear pass that's on for the midfield players. The back three will know that, of West Ham United. But it gives you the opportunity to then start dropping it into Hutchinson. Now that the game's getting stretched, he becomes all of a sudden Chelsea's outlet. See if the next couple of balls get slid into his feet rather than that more direct ball down the sides of the West Ham centre-halves.
West Ham comfortable in possession at the moment, though. Blue is out. From Derrick Abu. Needs a throw in. West Ham bench less than impressed with the official's decision there. But Sturge to Williams again, immediately pressured though by Robinson. Just don't want to get play going quickly, and they do. 2 balls on the pitch for the immediate. It's a deep cross as well, but Rankin does really well to get in front there as Sawyer. Can lash it clear, only as far as Clayton though. Rankin having to do a lot more defensive work than perhaps Chelsea would like to see him do. Can affect things at both ends of the pitch, of course, but when he's at his brilliant best, it's when he's running into space, and not seen a huge amount of that first half.
No, just the one opportunity to deliver. Got too much on the ball, but yeah, a lot of defending at the moment.
Speaking of defending, Charlie Webster's had to cannon that one out for a corner off of Potts. Regan Clayton is going to trot over and take this one for West Ham. 23 minutes played here at Kings Meadow. West Ham still 1-0 to the good through George Earthy's 12th minute strike. Really well defended by Chelsea though, and they can try and get something going quickly, but Hutchinson unable to bring it down. Oh, he does well though. Throw into West Ham off of Dylan Williams. It's a lovely touch there from Sawyer.
It's that good, it just enticed the challenge. He didn't feel when the ball was travelling there he was going to be able to take that in his stride, but he cushioned it beautifully, have to say. It's just the ball turned down the side. At this stage, you think that Derrick Abu's got good position, but that touch just enticed the challenge. Good little turn of pace as well. Can understand why Abu's slid in to try and win the ball, but have to commend the attacking play.
Kamari Sawyer, another one who's got 4 PL2 goals this season. Now joint top scorer with Divin Mubama after Pierre Ekwahu, formerly of Chelsea until 2021. Left West Ham in the week to join Sunderland. So in terms of goals, he's certainly one of the players that they look towards. Which is ironic because their under-18 side cannot stop scoring at the moment. 12 from 12 in the under-18s Premier League. They're absolutely flying. This West Ham team currently 12th in the PL2. Chance, though, to extend their 1-0 lead here, potentially. Lashed goalwards as well. And it ricocheted off 2 or 3 players. I'm not sure what decision is going to be made here. The referee doesn't look too sure. He gives a corner.
It's a terrific effort coming away from the goal. By Forson, able to wrap his left foot around it and hit the target. Difficult ball to hit there, really, especially on his weaker side. Did excellently to control it. The referee given the goal kick, but gets the decision right in the end.
Clayton to take the corner over the far side this time.
Come on, it's heroes. Come on, bow on your toes. Yes, yes. No, Keenan. Come here.
Swing of the header at the front post by Zhao, I think that is. It's gone all the way in. And West Ham do extend their lead. Keelan Casey's swept it goalwards, and I think it's Mubama on the line who eventually touches it in. West Ham 2-0 to the good here at Kingsmeadow.
And you're in big trouble as soon as you lose that first contact. It's just a little bit of movement in front of the near post. There's 3 Chelsea players there initially. Casey does excellently to control that ball actually on the half volley, putting it back into the danger area, and Mubama's there just to turn it over the line. But it's that first header, well stocked as well, Chelsea in the near post. I think there was 3 players there, slow to react. West Ham player just makes a little movement towards the front of the 6-yard box, and once he wins that header, Chelsea slow to react to the second ball as well. So 3 touches, 3 pivotal touches, all from the claret and blue shirt. Mark Robinson won't be best pleased with that concession.
Slight break in play here as Mason Burstow receives some treatment. Well, it's George Earthy who broke the deadlock shortly after 12 minutes before touching on 27 minutes from Mubama. West Ham do lead 2-0 here. Mark Robinson will be hoping that it won't be a same story as the last time that he and Mark Robson sat in opposite dugouts. He's not exactly a meeting, Sam, but when he was at AFC, he lost 3-0 to Peterborough, had Mark Robson as the assistant manager. I'm sure that will be a little bit of a conversation pre-match between the two. Let's have a little look at the goal that has unfortunately conceded Chelsea to a 2-0 deficit as it currently is. Like you said, Sam, he does really well, doesn't he, the centre-half in Keelan Casey to keep it down, and that's what you want from a number 9 in Mubama on the line, making sure.
Yeah, I mean, 2 vital touches. Sawyer it is that wins the near post header, and then Casey should not have that type of space at the far post. If you're assigned to mark a man, you can't switch off, even if the initial ball hasn't gone towards your marker. So Casey, he's a good 6'2", 6'3", isn't he? Should not be completely unopposed at the far post to turn it back into the danger area. But yeah, well worked set piece, but defensively Chelsea won't be pleased with that one.
Elsewhere in PL2 this evening, Arsenal and Spurs are currently 1-all at Boreham Wood. Everton Fulham also 1-all. Manchester United 1 up against Blackburn Rovers, and Wolves and Liverpool still goalless. It's 2-0 to West Ham here at Kingsmeadow. Chelsea with work to do, but as we do keep mentioning, West Ham were 2-0 to the good against Manchester United last weekend, and Manchester United ended up running away with all 3 points. So if there's ever anything to take from it, certainly I'm sure a conversation that will be being had between Chelsea players and management staff at the moment as Bergstrom goes long. Here's Webster into the feet of Rankin. This is where you want him. Space to run into for Dion Rankin. Webster with Abu for support, and he uses him. Webster again. Low cross dealt with by West Ham, but only as far as Brooking. Chelsea very much on the front foot since conceding that second goal. It's found its way to Mothersill. Really good feet back to Webster. Great strike, what a goal. Brilliant Chelsea reaction immediately after the goal. Charlie Webster has half the deficit.
Terrific reaction, really aggressive. The position we spoke of the centre-halves, Abu was right up there in the final third as that move was developing, comes back out the other side. And this is just really good play again. Every little bit of involvement, that from Sturge, excellent, great awareness from Hutchinson. And then I'm thinking, get your strike away early, Malik Mothersill, but patience, and sees the pass to his right, and it's a cracking finish from Charlie Webster. It's a really well-worked goal, number of players involved, and all doing their job to good effect.
Excellent response from Chelsea. Back in it, 2-1 now. West Ham lead, 15 minutes to go until the half-time interval. Webster immediately nipping in there, but gives a foul away against Kamari Sawyer. Really good patience as well from Malik Mothersill. You've seen so many centre forwards that as soon as they work half a yard, want to get the shot off, but composure to lay it on a plate for Webster, and then, my word, did he make the most of it.
Yeah, it looked like the centre-half have actually defended it pretty well up against Malik Mothersill, stopping him from getting his strike away. But, yeah, really good awareness just to see the position of Charlie Webster to his right and poke it into his path. And I think despite there being a deficit, a 2-0 deficit at that, Burstow had looked in the mood from the off. Malik Mothersill maybe not as much so, not as much involvement, but he's got such a potent and physical strike force. Chelsea were always going to cause problems, and they had done from the outset. Just a couple of defensive lapses to let them down so far, but there's not been too much wrong with the centre-forward's performance. Here we go again.
Lovely twisting and turning there from Mothersill. Now Hutchinson. There's Abu building down this right-hand side for Chelsea. It's ranking now. Back into the goal scorer, Webster. So assured and composed on the ball is Charlie Webster, and Chelsea keep possession. Abu, lovely ball into the feet of Burstow, lovely ball onto Hutchinson. Really good build-up from Chelsea. Hutchinson! It's a good strike as well. Chelsea feeling it now.
Excellent again. Abu stepping in. And then I love the sharpness of the front players, the combination play. This is a really good bit of play again. Look at that. Lovely fed into the feet of Hutchinson. It tells him that you are on, you can take on your opponent, because the pass is really punched into him. His touch was assured. Yeah, great play. Needed the touch, I think, from Hedgie just to turn it aside.
Another corner to be taken on the far side. Charlie Webster with the in-swinger. It's a deep one towards Cassidy. Move not quite over though. Williams tries to loop one back in. Now Rankin.
Stay in there, Dion. Stay in there, Dion. Good.
Dion Rankin looking for Dylan Williams over the far side. Lets it bounce towards Charlie Webster, but they're coming together between him and Junior Robinson. It'll be a free kick West Ham's way.
Yeah, been a terrific response though from Chelsea. Definitely could have got their heads down. Cassidy, if there's, well, not a criticism, but they want to try and get him into the game. He's been ever so quiet in the opening half an hour or so. Not been able to get on the ball, join in too much. Maybe that's because the first thought now of the teammates, certainly Charlie Webster, has been to turn West Ham around and try and play the front two in early. Maybe that's just negated his individual ability. So hopefully he can start getting on the ball now that the game's opened up a little bit.
As we said, still plenty of time for Chelsea to do such, and options from the substitutes bench, were they to need them a little bit later on, including Harvey Vale, Jaden Wareham, both returning from loan spells at Hull and Leyton Orient respectively, Jude Soon-Sut-Bell and Juan Castillo. Ted Kerr, the other substitute on the bench for Chelsea this evening. They do find themselves 2-1 down to West Ham United. George Earthy and Divin Mubama for the Hammers, and Charlie Webster just short of the half-hour mark to get Chelsea back in this one. And since the goal, a very different Chelsea. Looked very promising and positive on the ball. Here's Bergstrom. He's out and Burstow coming together. Referee doesn't seem interested in that one, but it's a foul to me all day long, that. Slight delay in proceedings here as the referee just deals with one or two things that perhaps being said his way, and making sure that Burstow and Luizal were okay. Big tussle between those two up front. Mason Burstow's been brilliant so far in the first half and has led the line very well for Chelsea in recent weeks. Chelsea's current top goal scorer, level on 5 with Amari Hutchinson, but started 14 of the 15 games for the PL2 side so far. Long ball forward looking for him there, though. Just then playing out from the back, that high press from Chelsea, and Zach Sturge unable to bring the ball into his control. Here's Burstow, lovely flick round the corner, Mothersill. He's able to get a toe on the ball, and here's Cassidy now. Hutchinson, Rankin. Hutchinson on an overlap, or Abu a little bit deeper if he needs him, uses Cassidy instead. Cassidy. Starting to get involved a little bit more, Sam, isn't he? The question you asked a few moments ago, we're seeing more of Cesare Cassidy in the last 5.
Yeah, we've not seen too many sequences of possession like this in the final third. Invariably, it's gone into a front player, and they've been able to make something happen, whether that end up in a delivery or a shooting opportunity. So, yeah, a little bit more measured just during this period, and Cassidy, as you said, able to get on the ball and stroke it around a little bit. I mean, that's not a criticism. I think the forward play's been excellent. It's been a really exciting first half, actually. If we were to be neutrals, probably the best thing that could happen for the game would be Chelsea going behind tonight, and they've certainly responded in turn, and it just feels like there's opportunities there because of the makeup of Chelsea's front line. And you can see West Ham not rocking, but they're not looking watertight, aren't they? There's definitely opportunities here.
It's a straight ball into Hutchinson from Cassidy. Wriggles away from a couple of tackles, and now Dylan Williams. Back to Charlie Webster. Cassidy, he was encouraging Abu to shoot there, but just thought better of it. And here's Rankin. He would terrify me as a fullback, I tell you, Sam. You know, Rankin can go either way, two-footed, absolutely rapid as well. Derrick Abu. That's a lovely ball towards the far post, looking for Mothersill, dealt with well, though, only as far as Cassidy. Good football from Chelsea and Webster. Like you said, it's been quite a frantic first half, and good for the neutrals. Neither team able to put a sequence of passes together, but Chelsea slowly and steadily starting to get into their rhythm a little bit more now.
Yeah, there's some pressure being built just towards the tail end of the first half. West Ham just getting a little bit deep, bit camped in. Don't invite pressure was the shout from the technical area. Yeah, a bit early in proceedings to be on the edge of your 18-yard box and hoping. They've been able to just get through it. Probably going to need to show a little bit more ambition, considering we're not even at the halfway point. The attack's getting a little bit sporadic for West Ham United. It's been a really good response to going 2 goals down. See if they can get level before the break.
All level in terms of shots on target for Chelsea and West Ham United in this first half, 3 apiece at the moment, which I think tells you the story. It's been quite an even game so far, and West Ham have been brilliantly clinical with the 2 opportunities they have had. Here's Robinson, who's looked lively down that right-hand side. Dealt with well there by Zach Sturge. Hutchinson. Typically brilliant feet from Amari Hutchinson. Just a loop one towards Mason Burstow. Does win it.
It's good again, they're connecting the front 3. Not too many balls going astray. Built down the left-hand side. Hutchinson's been nice and sharp in these little pockets of space. And you can see the 1v1 developing to the right of the picture. Burstow in between the winger and the left-sided centre-half. Just can't direct it onto the goal, but he looks full of confidence.
He gives you that option as well, doesn't he, to mix it up a little bit, because he can do the short play, and we'll come back to that in a second, because here's Mubama and now Clayton. Just a whip one in early, but Bergstrom's equal to it. he gives you that option, doesn't he? Because he can do it all, Mason Burstow. If you want to go a little bit longer, a little bit more direct, aerially, he's brilliant. But then also, we've seen the wonderful, neat interchange in play and his hold-up player dropping deep. He's a bag of all sorts. He can give you everything.
Yeah, and at PL2 level, I'd imagine defences sometimes are quite content for the ball to be funneled wide and deliveries to go in. But when you have got a two-pronged strike attack like Chelsea do tonight, it's a balance that you're going to have to play with, because you don't want too many balls coming in.
5 minutes until half-time interval. Dion Rankin with grass to run into now. He's going to get there before Clayton does really well. Abu's cross has been corner ball to Chelsea. Mark Robinson, the loudest voices as usual, just making sure his players are fully informed ahead of this set piece. Hutchinson with a delivery. It's a deep one towards the far post. Almost bounced kindly there for Derrick Abu at the far. Mubama lashes it up into the London skyline. Quite a picturesque one there if you're a budding photographer, but more up than out for West Ham's sake. Here's Brookin. Hutchinson. The referee was in the way of Casaday's outball there as he was looking towards Charlie Webster. It's a tough job though, Sam, isn't it, referee? So, you know, we'll leave it there.
Yeah, he's done all right so far. That's been a good game, free-flowing. West Ham want half-time now. Not been able to get out in the last 5 minutes or so.
Here's Rankin. Another one who's really grown into the game. You're seeing him on the ball more and more. And
I feel like it's going to be a half-time team talk, which is going to be, I wouldn't say despondent, but disappointed about some elements of Chelsea's performance. Obviously, the goals they've conceded, but I wonder if there's just a little bit in the back of Mark Robinson's mind that this will be a good test for the players. If they can overcome this, it will put them in really good stead for the rest of the season, because it's been plain sailing, hasn't it, the last few weeks, really, in the league programme. So I've been asked some questions so far this evening that haven't really been forthcoming recently. Good test of character. Let's see if they can continue to knock on the door and outscore opponents in the second period.
It's a really good point, isn't it? I suppose everyone can look brilliant when you're beating teams 5 and 6, but when you're 2-1 down against a side that are going to dig in and are a London rival and have got everything about them as well, if you can come back and get a positive result against them, like you said, from 2 down, not only do you take note yourself of what you're capable of, but also you send a message to those around you that, you know, if there has been a test of character, you've more than stood up to it.
The games are going to be tough. When you're sitting the higher echelons of the league, every game becomes even harder because teams want to beat you. Especially London derby, intensity is going to be there. Maybe West Ham have just taken advantage of Chelsea just having a little bit of a lack of numbers defensively tonight. Not to say it's been a terrible performance, but you'd have hoped they'd have defended the situations a little bit better. So it's going to be a night maybe where the front players got the opportunity to be the heroes again if they can get a few more goals.
Speaking of that, here is Amari Hutchinson. Lovely turn and wriggle away, but shot unfortunately wraps into the back of the stand behind the goal.
He's just digging it out a little bit, wasn't he? He kind of clipped it rather than put his laces through it. This is becoming a feature now. Cassidy getting on the ball, linking it. He was digging it out slightly under his feet. Couldn't get the venom in the strike he normally would look for from that type of distance.
Chance here for Sawyer with the final one of the first half, but Zach Sturge does really well. Like you said, Sam, I think both teams with one eye on the half-time whistle at the moment. Both managers, I suppose, would like to get their message on as soon as possible, but there could be a chance here for Chelsea to do something. Here is Hutchinson, defended well in the end. Here is Sawyer. Runs out of pitch in the end. Derrick Abu does really well.
Yeah, he did do well because Sawyer's got a good little change of pace. Looks to slow the opponent down and then burst beyond them. Pulling over to this left-hand side. So, yeah, excellent defending. Derrick Abu.
Chelsea just eking out the seconds before the half-time whistle. All the way back to Bergstrom. Lovely switch of play for Charlie Webster, looking for Dylan Williams, but it's dealt with well by Robinson. Mubama could be in here. He's on his own though. He's only got Sawyer, but he's finally now got a chance of arriving. What a finish that is. Clinical as you like. Divin Mubama has his second of the evening, and that is a fantastic finish out of absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's a big blow, isn't it? When you consider the way the first half has played out, the intensity that Chelsea have been playing with, and it's another individual error really on the halfway line initially from Brooking. Then Webster does really well, I felt, just to get back into that position. Maybe he has to show him onto his right side. Easier to say now, but there's only one place the finish can go, and he starts it outside the post. Mubama and Bergstrom is clutching at thin air there, really, because the direction on the strike kisses the inside of the post. Excellent, excellent finish, but could have been avoided much earlier in the move.
All of a sudden, the tone really changes, doesn't it? Because 90 seconds ago, we're talking about Chelsea going in at half-time, probably the better of the two teams after conceding those two earlier goals, and then all of a sudden, direction of travel changes massively because you're going 3-1 down and there's a big 45 minutes needed. Yeah,
the tone of the talk probably changes a little bit now. At 2-1, you feel the message is going to be really upbeat. You've got yourselves back into the game, you perform well for 20-25 minutes, knocking on the door to concede another sloppy goal just prior to half-time. I think probably overtakes, and the focus has to be about being better defensively. Handed West Ham 3 goals, really. Big shame, considering the performance level has been pretty good, especially the forward players. I'm impressed with the front three today. They've looked at it, looked confident, as you would expect.
It's a rarity to see this Chelsea team concede 3 goals in the PL2. They haven't done that since the 15th of October, and that was when the game was almost wrapped up before Shola Shortire scored 2 very, very late goals for Manchester United to draw 3-3 on that evening. But just flicking back to try and find the last time Chelsea came from 2 goals down, and like we said, it's rare that they concede 3 goals, so this is new ground for a lot of them. But can Amari Hutchinson play his part in cutting that deficit before the half-time whistle? Probably the final opportunity of the first half. Tease and delivery. Dylan Williams with the flick goalwards. Coming towards Casado, I think probably would have been offside. Heggie in goal. More than happy to cling on to it and suck away the seconds before half-time whistle, and it was...
I think it was, yeah, Casey that flung himself at it. Williams did well to control the volley.
And there is the half-time whistle at Kingsmeadow. Definitely silence, actually, at the game this evening, as unfortunately Chelsea are 3-1 down against West Ham United. It was George Earthy who opened the scoring for West Ham before Divin Mubama doubled the Hammers' advantage. Charlie Webster got Chelsea back on almost level terms almost immediately after that, a fantastic reaction from Chelsea, and they were pressing for the equaliser before the counter-attacking goal, and brilliantly taken from absolutely nothing from Didier Mubama. It looked like the chance had gone before he whipped it in off the upright in the far corner. Sam Parkin, it's going to be a big next 15 minutes for Mark Robinson and his team, but as we were talking 10-15 minutes ago, it's a real test of that Chelsea squad's character.
Yeah, disappointing scoreline, clearly. Disappointing defensive performance, but other than that, a lot to like. Again, they've caused West Ham a number of problems, had countless opportunities, half chances, more than, you know, golden opportunities. So it's still there for them. It's still there for them. We know how free scoring they have been recently. We know the firepower they've got at the top end of the pitch. So be some turnaround, but they're more than capable.
Absolutely right. We'll see in a second the highlights from Chelsea's FA Youth Cup fixture with Cambridge United from last night. But first, a team that are looking forward to getting back on this pitch on Sunday. Chelsea women played in the Conti Cup in midweek against Tottenham Hotspur. Here are the highlights.
Right, Sam Kerr already off and on the run. Kerr to James and Kerr again, and Brighton. Dangerous and awkward, and that's Perisset! First really good chance. The French fullback has drilled it, this has drilled it wide. Nicely worked though by the Blues. It's a sweet return ball. Erin Cuthbert, here it's in! Chelsea lead. Just a few minutes before the break. I think the defender might have been Sam Kerr in there, but either way it's a Chelsea goal. Huge credit to both Cuthbert and Wrighton in the build-up here. Beautifully brought under control by Lauren James here. And Kirby! There's the breathing room. Fran Kirby with yet another goal. Just a few minutes after coming off the bench. Tottenham 0, Chelsea 2, and that's a beauty. A bit of foul by Spence. And good run with it. Chelsea here, that's Witting Cannon. That is a gorgeous ball for Kerr, and that's game over. Just a few minutes to go. No doubt about it now. Another semi-final coming up. Look at this for an assist. Witting Cannon. Reverse ball of the season, and there's Kerr. Might get better here. Kerr in the middle for 4. It's Kirby, and still Corpola's on the floor. Kirby, surely no. Lauren James was in there. She's in the net, but the ball isn't, and it stays at 3. It's so calm and composed. But somehow, look at that, right across everyone. Zadorsky. Great take that from Drew Spence. Oh, that's a brilliant hit. Not going to be worth much, but it is a goal against a former club for Drew Spence, and it's one heck of a strike as well. But it is in the 4th minute of stoppage time. Wonderful hit. Tottenham 1, Chelsea 3.
Walloped up the line by George Hoddle. Chelsea quick to win it back. Some run this from Achiampong. Decent cutback as well for Tudor Mendele-Dowu. And Finch has been able to turn it round the post. Best we've seen from Chelsea so far, though. McNeely. It's a decent cross, that, and the goalkeeper under pressure lost it, and then it's just wide from Leo Castledine. Really good opportunity. Excellent work it was from McNeely. Difficult one for Murray Campbell to deal with. He didn't get there, and what a block from Brodie Hughes to prevent Dan Barton from making it 1-0. It was a good corner, and the header was even better, and Cambridge United are ahead. It's the skipper, Jayden Lott, who's got the goal. No chance for Merrick. Well won by Jörn. It's a decent cross as well. Chelsea haven't got it clear. Oh, and it's off the post. Ismaili so close to a second. Delidowu, lovely footwork. Can he pick the pass? Looking for McNeely, who's beaten his man. It's a good save from Finch, out quick to deal with that. Chelsea getting closer, but still no equaliser. Castledine looking for room for a shot here. Leo Castledine deflected, and that took it wide in the end. Good footwork from Castledine. McNeely, time running out for Chelsea. Here's Boniface, the substitute, and that's a really good ball. Castledine couldn't get there. Delidowu in there as well, and they got in one another's way. And now the inquest starts. Chelsea are running out of time here. Delidowu, but that's it. Chelsea are out. A massive win for Cambridge. A huge upset in the FA Youth Cup. Cambridge United 1, Chelsea 0.
Yeah, big disappointment last night in the FA Youth Cup, but a lot of that squad will be back in action tomorrow morning against Tottenham Hotspur, so make sure you join us on the fifth stand up from that 11 o'clock kickoff for that, right? So here we are, 3-1 at half-time here at Kingsmeadow to the visitors, West Ham United. They took the lead through George Earthy shortly after the 12th minute, and since then it's been a bit of a frantic game of football, but an enjoyable one at that Sam Park. In Charlie Webster really having an impact on this game.
Yeah, I spoke about Charlie Webster, the way that Chelsea were likely to set up pre-match, and this was a great example of that. Just going a little bit more direct than we've maybe seen because of the two strikers they've got up there. Nearly turned into a goal, and that was a good snapshot as well from Pia Forson. Probably an example of what was to come, really. Difficult for Chelsea defending set pieces in that first period, and Mubama on the spot there just to turn in case he's cut back.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the corner was to be proved that the second goal of the evening. Chelsea 2 down at that point through Divin Mubama, his first one of the evening. He's up to 6 at this point in the PL2. His 7th comes just before half-time. But before then, Chelsea immediately started to give some sort of response, and this was a bright period from Chelsea. Lovely build-up play, and eventually works its way to Charlie Webster.
Brilliant goal. I don't know if Hutchinson meant the little ball round the corner, if he just missed towing it into Mothersill. Yeah, but it just shows you when you have the three players in close proximity, the setup is aggressive and paid off for that goal. Brilliant strike though, great individual quality from Charlie Webster, and this was a great spell for Chelsea, a flurry of chances that came after Webster pulled one back, and unfortunate not to be going in at least level, and all to do in the second half given they gave up another goal. But this should give Chelsea some optimism. There's some really good play amongst the mistakes in the first half. Burstow's been excellent and could have had a goal himself.
Absolutely, yeah, very, very nearly on a number of occasions. Chelsea getting it back on level terms, and then this right on the stroke of half-time. It looked like Charlie Webster had shepherded him out and done enough, but absolutely nothing. It's a really, really good finish because it looked like the danger had been averted. It's a fantastic finish from Divin Mubama, his second of the evening, up to 7 in the PL2, so for 6 up to 6 in the PL2 now for West Ham United. Really good finish, and I'm sure if you were more of a neutral perspective this evening, Sam, you'd be admiring that front play a little bit more.
Yeah, I always want to credit the front players. It's a brilliant finish when he brings it in on his left-hand side, but should have been dealt with on the halfway line by Brooking, and then Charlie Webster does fantastically well to read the situation, get him back in, and then just show him onto his right side, show him away from the goal, completely lacking in support, and hopefully Chelsea would have been able to defend the subsequent phase of the attack. So really disappointing Bergstrom as well. Maybe there wasn't much pace on the strike. That said, it does go in off the post. So yeah, bitter pill to swallow just before the break, but hopefully more goals to come in the second half.
As we can see, the Chelsea and West Ham United substitutes warming up. 1 or 2 names on the Chelsea bench if they were to be turned to. I mean, you look at Harvey Vale, Jayden Wareham, Jude Soon-Suk-Bell, Juan Castillo, all attacking options really.
Yeah.
Castillo the most defensive out of the four of those, but I think it'll be long before we see any of the above.
Probably leave it a while because the attacking play's been okay. That said, the system tonight, I wouldn't say it's left them exposed, but there's a bit of a lack of defenders. Normally you've had a Humphreys in this team, obviously gone on his loan now. Gilchrist has been a mainstay. You've got more attacking players playing the outside fullback role, so possibly he may change the system, but like I said, they just need to sharpen up the focus in that regard. The front players will create opportunities. Naturally, they'll tire at some stage, and we might see some of the substitutes. I've always liked Jayden Wareham as an impact player. Maybe doesn't have the same effect from the off. He comes on and can pick up the speed of the game really quickly. Kind of effervescent type of front player, gets strikes away. So yeah, there's good options, good attacking options on there, but I don't think there's any reason to panic. It's more the individual focus, the concentration, and just trying to eradicate those errors.
Absolutely. Just chatting about the rest of the weekend as well, Sam, because there's a lot of football to be played between now and the end of the season in all competitions, especially because of the World Cup break has been enforced for not just the first team, but then cancellations over the last few weeks due to unplayable pitches and etc. Obviously, the under-18s in action tomorrow morning, which you can watch live on the Fifth Stand Up with us from 11 o'clock. That'll be kick-off time there. That's an important one, isn't it? Because we've sat here and done Chelsea-Tottenham, no matter what level it is, PL2, Premier League, FA Cup final, under-18s, Chelsea-Spurs always means something. You'll have been in that position, playing a Spurs team that... How do you get set up for exactly the same way? Because obviously Chelsea and Tottenham, there's not a lot to separate them at the moment in the under-18s Premier League. Do you approach it exactly the same as any other game, or does Chelsea and Spurs have a little bit more on it? Yeah,
there is. I mean, it was always Chelsea, Tottenham and Arsenal. Those would be the biggest games. I know in terms of location, there's closer derby matches for Chelsea, but those were the twos. I think Tottenham, their academy has grown hugely. Obviously, the facilities at Spurs Lodge is second to none now as well. If that's what it's called, sorry, the name escapes me. But yeah, it's always a big game. I think it funnels through the football club. I remember Mason Mount talking about Chelsea-Tottenham games a few years ago at academy level, and always big ones. And yeah, sitting third and fourth respectively in the table. Big game tomorrow, and they'll be motivated. There may be an opportunity for a few younger players to play, given the amount of games there's been in close proximity. But yeah, they'll be left in no uncertain terms. That's a game you want to win.
Absolutely, and I haven't checked the weather report just yet, but it's definitely going to be a lot milder than it was last Sunday at Kings Meadow for when Chelsea and Liverpool try and do it for longer than 6 minutes that we managed last Sunday when they take each other on in the FA Cup this Sunday again. That's a really important one, and I suppose from a perspective of a fan's view, we probably would have learned a little bit more if we'd have seen the two teams 7 days ago. But now you go into it very much still looking back at the opening day of the WSL season when Liverpool got the better of Chelsea. Yeah, and I think revenge will be on their minds. It would have been a week ago. What it does for Emma Hayes, it probably gives her an opportunity to go stronger. She may very well have rotated a little bit for this game, having not had that game last Sunday. It'll probably be the big hitters. That said, they did play Tottenham, obviously. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But last season, there wasn't much to play with after they lost at the Emirates, and it seems like it's going to be a really competitive title race again this season. So there's no margin for error, so they can switch off to a degree, given that it's a cup game. But yeah, hopefully this one goes ahead and everyone can breathe a bit of a sigh of relief, because the FA and such like wouldn't have wanted this one to fall and foul to the weather as well. So hopefully we'll get the game, and we'll get a good one at that as well. Absolutely right, mate, and I can tell you as someone that's only just defrosted from Sunday, it was cold. It was very, very cold at Kings Meadow, but yeah, we're looking forward to that one. And again, another one that you can watch with us live on the Fifth Stand Up on Sunday. That's a 1 o'clock kickoff, so yeah, make sure you're with us for that one. Should be a very, very interesting game as Chelsea go in search of more silverware, and of course, Chelsea also playing in the UEFA Women's Champions League, going to be at Stamford Bridge next month. I think it's end of March, in fact, so keep an eye on tickets for those one at chelseafc.com for that, of course. The men's team, of course, getting in Champions League action in only a few weeks' time as well, so maybe one or two players that will be keeping an eye on this one in terms of younger players that may step into the registration window now, as younger players that are on the so-called B list and can step up, and potentially with 1 or 2 players that needed to be registered from new signings from the first team, we may see 1 or 2 get an opportunity further down the line. So every opportunity to impress is one that I'm sure they'll be keen to take, and Amari Hutchinson is going to do that, hopefully, by kicking us off in the second half. As Chelsea trail 3-1 to West Ham United. No changes at half-time for either team. So it's Heggie, Robinson, Luizao, Pia Forson, Casey, Liang, Earthy, one of the goal scorers for West Ham, Potts, Mubama, the other goal scorer who has 2 to his name so far, Sawyer and Clayton for Mark Robson's West Ham United. And Chelsea continue with Bergstrom, Abu, Brookin, Sturge, Williams and Rankin as the wing-backs or wingers, with Webster and Cassidy. And then a front 3 of Burstow and Mothersill, and Hutchinson in that 10 role a little bit behind, kicking immediately off towards the West Ham goal, which will please a lot of Chelsea fans who are just making their way back to their seats, getting a nice warming refreshment on a chilly evening here in Kingston. Here is Dylan Williams. Bergstrom looking towards Mason Burstow. Luizau's the uncontested header for West Ham. Webster, lovely ball into Mothersill. Pia Forson, who's very tidy in possession for West Ham in the middle of the park this evening. Is Robinson. Lashed clear by Sturge. What will have been the message then at half-time, Sam, for Mark Robinson? Will it still very much be a case of, we were in the game until a few minutes before, just keep doing what you're doing, patience, and set a little bit of a marker down to his players to take the game by the scruff of the neck individually?
Fast start, I think. Next goal, that kind of talk, I think, and the patience thing as well. Not to get too despondent if you don't score early in this second period. It looks maybe like more of a back 4 start of the second half. See Derrick Abu over there, you can see the back 2 there, and Dylan Williams over here, and Malik Mothersill just looks to have pulled to the left-hand flank, so maybe just tactically adjusted.
I guess it does allow then Dion Rankin to push forward a little bit more, and like we said,
just as I say that, Mothersill goes back into the centre-forward position, so maybe it was just momentarily. Wait and see how it plays out, but they have got the option of doing that at some stage. That
fluidity within the side, and even over the past few weeks, we've seen Chelsea play a 4 at the back against Leicester in a 2-0 win there, and reverted to a back 3 against Wolves. And I mean, even that Leicester game, it was almost a back 3, back 4 at times. It was very, very fluid, and I guess very, very similar to the Chelsea first team that we see under Graham Potter. At times it will be a back 4, and midway through it could be a back 3, and you're almost asking one player to do a little bit of both, as Hutchinson whips one across the centre of the box, but Chelsea can't get anyone on the end of it. Here's Earthy. Potts. Lovely lifted ball towards the left-hand side, and West Ham now enjoying a little bit of possession themselves, as they've certainly answered a number of questions this evening and taken their chances very well. Find themselves 3-1 up here at Kingsmeadow this evening. Sawyer. Crowded out by Abu, and Webster does really well. Sturge does really well there to win the goal kick off of George Earthy. There's the Chelsea manager, Mark Robinson. He's enjoyed a wonderful run of form for his team in PL2, unbeaten since August. You remember quite a difficult start to the PL2 season for Chelsea, defeats to Arsenal and Fulham early on, but since then, very impressive. Certainly since the turn of the year as well, since the return from winter break, as it were. 4 wins in the last 5 PL2 games, 3 clean sheets on the bounce as well in PL2. Unfortunately, though, 3 goals conceded this evening means they've got a little bit of work to do in the remaining 40 minutes. Cassidy. Touch from Burstow. Here's Rankin. Abu's off to offer support. Can't quite get it to stick though, and could be a chance now though. Burstow. He's got Williams wide, uses him. Cassidy does well. Here's Sturge. Into Webster, half a yard. It's going to fall to Mothersill. It's a good chance, Sam.
Yeah, just maybe lost his bearings momentarily. Cassidy's play down the left-hand side was really eye-catching. This is a lovely pick-up. Very two-footed player. Excellent stuff. Webster thinks he's got himself a brace. Yeah, I don't think he maybe knew the position of the goalkeeper there. Just didn't get the angle on his strike.
It's Mothersill. Now Webster. Hutchinson. Nice build-up play from Chelsea. Now Rankin's got space on the right-hand side. This cross is deflected out for a Chelsea corner. But again, that build-up play and that interchange from Mason Burstow, really important to everything that Chelsea have done well this evening.
Yeah, it's taken 5 minutes, but starting to flow now. Cassidy with a couple of excellent balls into front players' feet. That's really good. Round the corner from Burstow. Good link-up play from Mothersill. Unfortunately, can't beat the first man, but really encouraging stuff.
Hutchinson with the corner. It's a deep one towards Burstow. Oh, it's a brilliant save. That is a phenomenal save from Heggie. Mason Burstow did everything right there. It's a tremendous save from the West Ham keeper.
Well, it looks in, doesn't it? We haven't got the technology, but this is an outstanding header. It doesn't get better than that. It's a wonderful bit of football, isn't it? What a save. Yeah, it's getting enough on the ball, isn't it? Wasn't going to be able to push it aside, just had to try and get something on it to get it above the crossbar. Just did enough. Wonderful stop.
Really is a brilliant, brilliant stop. Goalkeeper that's been an ever-present for West Ham this season in PL2. He's also been very highly thought of in the national setup for Hungary. I'm sure it won't be long before he's not only knocking on the door of West Ham's first team from some of the performances I've seen this season, but with saves like that, your highlight reel gets better, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just looked like it came a little bit late, didn't it? The intervention, like it was creeping over the line, but yeah, I don't want to take anything away. It's an amazing save.
It's a lovely turn as well from Sawyer. It's cut out eventually by Brookin. Gap starting to open up at both ends though. cagey opening to the second half, but looks like maybe we're past that and both teams starting to find little pockets of space. Good feet. Sawyer again. Burstow. Wants to get things going quickly and wants to release Mothersill. One-on-one with Casey. He's only got Hutchinson for support. Casey does really well though. Casey. Pia Forson. 55 minutes played here at Kingsmeadow. West Ham United 3-1 to the good. George Earthy, and then 2 from Divan Mubama after Charlie Webster had reduced it to 2-1. Elsewhere in PL2 this evening, Arsenal and Spurs still one apiece in the North London derby. Everton and Fulham also level at 1-1. Manchester United are 2-0 up against Blackburn Rovers, whilst Wolves and Liverpool still goalless as it stands. An interesting goal scorer for Tottenham Hotspur in the PL2 tonight as well, Sam, in Lucas Moura. Chance here for Sawyer. Can't keep it in, and Brooking does.
That's not fair, is it?
Brazilian international that has been very very outspoken in the last few weeks, perhaps about looking for a move away from Antonio Conte's side. Well, when you're getting an opportunity on the pitch, what you can do is score goals, can't you?
Fair play, yeah. Showing the right attitude.
Absolutely.
Might get back in.
Absolutely right. Although if it makes Spurs better, I hope not. Anyway, Chelsea are 3-1 down here this evening, and Dylan Williams looking to get Chelsea back in a more positive phase of play, but can't find anyone with that one.
Oh, what a shame that Mason Burstow header hadn't just crept over the line. It would have been absolutely perfect to mount the comeback.
Here's Robinson. It's a deep cross as well. Bergstrom's done well. There's Charlie Webster. Just keeps Chelsea ticking over, doesn't he? Every time he gets on the ball, it looks like something could happen. Mothersill can't keep hold of possession though as Casey steps in, and now Earthy ignores the run of Mubama. I think would have just about been offside. In fact, he still is. Just short of an hour then. Sam, how long do we anticipate it will be before we see reinforcements from the touchline?
Well, you can never say for certain, but yeah, I think he'll persevere. I think the setup of the front players is looking okay. Hasn't been the problem in the first half. They've had plenty of ball, the three of them. Still looking bright. Looks like they've been working on the system and the little movements. The link-up play between the trio, I thought, has been excellent. Just need to make sure when they get in for those opportunities, one gets taken, and hopefully quickly they're going to take some points out of this game. But you know, Mason Burstow a few moments ago did absolutely everything, but the goal was a wonderful header. Well, here we go.
There we go, and it's Harvey Vale who will be introduced from the touchline. Malik Mothersill, the player to be replaced. I mean, if you're looking for an impact player, a player that's made his first team bow and spent the first half of the season on loan at Hull City in the Championship. Didn't play as much as he'd liked. He got injured on international duty, I seem to remember, for under-19s around October, and sort of didn't find his way back into the team after that, unfortunately. But player of supreme ability and certainly make Chelsea a very different proposition now he's on the pitch. Here is Dion Rankin. As you can see, a lot of Harvey Vale fans in this evening. Here is Amari Hutchinson.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, he'll be a little bit short on fitness, I would presume, having been away and not played consistently. So that's something that would probably have been looked at since he's returned to Cobham, getting him back up to speed. He's only going to get it really through matches, so see how he gets on in the time that remains. And yeah, not a poor performance from Mothersill, but probably in terms of the three, he was probably least secure in possession. Some of that's because he tries things. He's a little bit off the cuff, but yeah, he'd be disappointed he wasn't able to get himself a goal.
So I would like to steal this as my own, Sam, but I'm going to give it to Lee Parker, who's just put this in our group chat from Hilario, a man that obviously knows this very well. But interesting that the last two goalies that have played for Chelsea under-21s in the last 3 games are both internationals for their country. How incredible is that? Lucas Bergström, of course, made his Finland debut not that long ago, in fact, in a friendly just after Christmas, I think it was. So you've got that, and obviously prior to that, you've got Gaga Slanina, the new signing in goal, who at the moment is currently away with the American national team, and I'm sure we'll see a lot more of him. So I think that shows you the standard. We were just speaking about Lucas Moura scoring for Tottenham Hotspur, but we're in a position at the moment where you look at 2 goalkeepers that have lined up for Chelsea in the most recent PL2 games, both being internationals for their team. So that's the level that we're talking, and that's the level that we're talking you have to beat this evening. And currently, West Ham are doing that quite well.
Yeah, and yeah, they don't roll off the tongue in terms of academy graduates that have made it into the first team at Chelsea in comparison to outfield players, which is obviously it's a difficult job to do, but yeah, it'd be good to get 1 or 2 in time, getting into the first team and making that transition. Think of some peers of mine, you know, Lenny Pidgley for one, got a few minutes, didn't he? Lenny, Jamal Blackman was around it, wasn't he, for a number of years? But
Jamal's probably the last one. I think in fact he was in the Champions League squad, wasn't he? For Munich?
Well, he's gone on and had obviously a lot of longevity in his lower league career, but yeah, there's not been that one that's made that jump and become a consistent at first team level. So hopefully that's to come next few years.
Absolutely. Certainly positioning the academy setup for Chelsea that's very competitive. Could be a chance here for Mason Burstow, but yeah, you're looking at not only Lucas Bergström or Slanina, you're looking at Eddie Beach, obviously Teddy Kerr, Prince Adegoke as well. A lot of good goalkeepers, Max Merrick as well in the 18s. There's a lot of good goalkeepers coming through at Chelsea at the moment, so yeah, you're absolutely right. And I know obviously it's a position that is very important to any team, so if you're doing it for Chelsea on a regular basis, you've got to be the very best, and certainly at Cobham, you don't get anywhere unless you are the best, so that's why they're here and why Dylan Williams has got the ball on the left-hand side currently for Chelsea. Give her a teasing cross towards Mason Burstow. Did really well there to challenge the goalkeeper fairly. There's a Pia Forsen. Now Mubama. Sawyer, very lively on this left-hand side for West Ham United. Tottenham are taking the lead in the North London derby in the PL2 this evening. And now 2-1 to the good. Nice touch from Vale, and Cassidy can't return the favour. Reminder that if things were to remain as they are, Chelsea would still be top of the PL2 currently. But on Monday evening, or Monday afternoon, I should say, Crystal Palace host Manchester City. And if results go the way of the citizens, they would return to the top of PL2. But Crystal Palace, hot on the heels of both Manchester City and Chelsea. Only 2 points behind Manchester City, so their home record being very good as well. Quite fancy that one. No advantage, and Mason Burstow is just pleading his case. Perhaps there's 1 or 2 too many from the West Ham defence.
Yeah, he's been really good tonight, Mason Burstow. His understanding of the position seems to be growing, using his body to good effect. He's attacked the ball excellently in the 18-yard box. Good link-up play. Looks to be a slightly different setup now, as in Hutchinson and Harvey Vale playing his 2 10s with Mason Burstow just down the middle by himself. So I think that has adjusted since Harvey Vale's introduction. Not an out-and-out centre forward, so makes a little bit of sense, and Omari Hutchinson has a little bit of company in that little area in behind the centre forward. So let's see if that can have an effect on West Ham's back line.
I think it may be almost a little bit like a hybrid system at the moment with, like you said, 2 10s and Rankin more of an attacking winger than Dylan Williams, who's a little bit more offensive on this left-hand side, but I'll hopefully see a little bit more of that once Chelsea can get the ball back, but Omari Hutchinson concedes the foul there.
You can see Harvey Vale's position there. Yes, he's in defensive mode, but probably reverted just to kind of box shape.
Robinson. It was a long time since George Earthy opened the scoring this evening. 65 minutes played here at Kingsmeadow. Chelsea do trail by 3 goals to 1. Oh, it should have been 3-2, weren't it, for a fantastic save by Christian Heggie in the West Ham goal. Zach Sturge to the feet of Harvey Vale. Cassidy. Lovely ball towards Dion Rankin. Potts does well, but Charlie Webster does better. Here's Derrick Abu. Webster's delivery just towards Vale. West Ham can't quite clear it just yet, although slight hesitation there allows West Ham the opportunity to clear the ball only as far as Zach Sturge. He does really well, though, to lift the ball back in. Here's Harvey Vale. Hutchinson going to strike it. It's a good save from Heggie. Cross from Abu. Cassidy.
Some good deliveries into the box. Casey did well to defend the previous one. Shame it just went into his area. Obviously the most statuesque of the West Ham defenders. It's a really good effort, this. Just doesn't quite get the height maybe that he was looking for. Trying to whip that into the top right-hand corner, I would presume. Just can't get it up off the turf enough. Yeah, comfortable save. May have just kissed the post. And the subsequent delivery. Cassidy just trying to generate a bit of power. Maybe just the direction was the most important thing there. Back in the direction of which it had come from. A couple of good chances in quick succession. Should give Chelsea hope to go on and realise not all is lost.
Sturge into the feet of Hutchinson. He's got Vale racing for support. He uses him. He's got Burstow at the far post. If he can find him, he squares it. And he does find him. Chelsea are back in this. A brilliant counter-attacking goal. Hutchinson to Vale and Mason Burstow at the far post. Chelsea 2, West Ham United 3.
Deserves his goal, unquestionably. I've spoken a few times tonight about the speed of the attack, the intensity that the forward players have played with. And again there, I think Omari Hutchinson, his body language when he receives this ball, the speed that he plays at, it just encourages the tempo. Perfect. And Harvey Vale knows that he's only got one place to put that. He's only got one player to hit. And the execution is perfect. And Mason Burstow, as I just touched on, his all-round display has been really encouraging tonight. He's kept on getting in there, and now he's got a goal to show for an excellent all-round forward performance.
His 6th goal in PL2 takes him outright on his own as Chelsea's leading goal scorer, and that Harvey Vale impact again. Came on as a substitute against Fulham in the win last weekend, had an assist within, felt like moments of coming on as a sub. He's done exactly the same again this evening, that assuredness, that composure in the final third, and can see how much of a big figure he's going to be to Chelsea in the next few months as their title charge continues. And now 20 minutes to try and get something back from this game. Casey into Earthy. Looking for Robinson on the overlap. Could fall to any number, and Sawyer can't get his knee over the ball and lashes that one over into the roof of the terrace almost. What a chance, Sam Parkin.
Well, you can't believe it, can you? You can't believe what we're watching. Chelsea just got themselves back into the game. An almighty scramble here. You feel that it's going to fall for a Pia Forson just to prod it over the line. Somehow Chelsea escaped this first kind of scramble, and then it falls to Sawyer on the far post, and he just can't wrap his left foot around it. It's a difficult chance, in fairness, but he's probably just looking to smash that into the roof of the net, but it gets underneath it.
Yeah, on second viewing, it come at him quickly, didn't it?
Concentrate! Concentrate!
West Ham still lead by 3 goals to 2. Given Mubama has 2 of those for West Ham United after George Earthy opened the scoring. Chelsea back in it next to Charlie Webster, and once again Mason Burstow, who's been involved in everything Chelsea have done good this evening. There he is again, gives it to Rankin. Just scuffs his shot a little bit as he was aiming for that near post.
Yeah, a bit surprised that he opted to bring it infield. Burstow really on song again. The weight of pass is nice. Actually just enticed the fullback towards the ball. Well, it could have gone on the outside there. Leon Rankin, and chokes his shot harmlessly wide. But it's some 20 minutes out now. You're a West Ham player, you're starting to look at that clock and hoping that maybe the manager can affect things with a couple of changes just to alleviate the pressure that's building. 5 or 6 minutes, you take that hanging on, but 20 minutes is a fair chunk of the game.
If you are of a neutral persuasion, then good evening. Thank you very much for joining us, and what a game of football you've picked. If you're of a West Ham perspective, it could get even better at the moment, because here's Sawyer. Oh, he just can't find the far post. Another half chance though for West Ham. It seems that they've been taking those so far this evening, and Sawyer unable to redirect it on target.
Yeah, he's looked like a good player, hasn't he, throughout the proceedings. Slightly surprised he slowed things down there. I think the space is in behind Derrick Abu. It's really good approach play. Rankin it is actually, sorry, that gets back into the deepest defensive position. Just uses them as a shield. Trying to bend it into the far post, but doesn't get the curve on the ball.
There's another one who's made his first team bow already. Kamari Sawyer came on as a substitute in November in the Conference League for West Ham United, so again a player that they rate very highly, and on tonight's inspection you can certainly see why. 1 or 2 of these players very ready for the next step, don't they? Charlie Webster being one of those, he does brilliantly well there. Mason Burstow likewise. It's Hutchinson. It's a Sturge. Now Cassidy. Flip ball to Williams. Cassidy just tees on towards Burstow, but couldn't pick out him or Rankin. Hakim brings down Mubama. Bit of a hefty coming together there for Josh Brookin and Divin Mubama. Probably one of the easiest fouls the referee will have to give this evening.
Yeah, it's a poor challenge. I think he feels he can just nick the ball down the side, but he's clever actually, the centre forward. Just positioned his body, made sure Brookin couldn't get there. Takes a fair whack as well.
It's also Freddie Potts, who's down on the ground at the moment. West Ham have made a change as well with Dan Chesters, it looked like. Let's just come onto the pitch. Yeah, Dan Chester's has come on for goal scorer George Earthy. With just under 20 minutes to play. That's Freddie Potts going down on the edge of your picture. You can see there, but I think he's receiving treatment at the moment. Looked an innocuous one. Hopefully, it's nothing serious for Potts because he's had a good evening there. But Chelsea physios just attending to help out their West Ham counterparts to give both players that are down treatment that they need. Slight stop in play then, Sam. 15 minutes or so to go. What would the message from Mark Robinson be in this little huddle that he'll be doing about 10 foot away?
I think it's probably little tactical nuances now. That West Ham are going to be a little bit deeper, I would say. That said, they've still had some opportunities on the counter-attack in the last 5 minutes since Chelsea have got it back to one goal. It's interesting that Harvey Vale and Hutchinson's position now, I think. Probably because West Ham are going to drop off and maybe the space is going to be in front of them, and then it's up to those two to conjure a little bit of magic. The space beyond probably not going to be as obvious as it was in the first period. So it's probably on those two, I would say, above any others, to possibly get Chelsea a share of the spoils or better.
A change coming in here for West Ham. Ollie Scholes also making his bow, as is Juan Castillo, who will replace Dylan Williams. Looks like pretty much a straight swap, would imagine there, Sam, in terms of a left-sided player in Castillo.
Yeah, and he's got good experience, hasn't he, for this level. Hopefully he can produce some magic. Some really good moments in the academy. 23 now, I looked up before the game, so yeah, vast experience in comparison to some of the younger guys that are out there tonight, so hopefully he can inspire the recovery.
Absolutely, yeah, like you mentioned, 23 years of age. He's been capped from 15s all the way up to under 20s for the Holland national team and come through the Ajax academy, so you know you're going to get a player that's going to bring a certain amount of composure on the ball, you'd hope. Certainly, I'm sure the message to him has been exactly that, bring a little bit of composure, and there'll be an opportunity before the end of the game, no doubt. Just hope it falls Chelsea's way. Here's the captain this evening, Josh Brookin. Just nudges it out wide to Derrick Abu.
Now we're in the gym, come on, full speed! This is you, Dan. This is good, Josh. Good, get with him!
Ball's gone out of play slightly. It looks like still a bit of discomfort for Freddie Potts in the middle of the park. The other change for West Ham was Regan Clayton, who was replaced by Oliver Scholes. It's a Burstow. Looking for players to get around him a little bit quicker, but Hutchinson elected to go to Castillo, and here's Webster back to Abu. He's already on a booking, Derrick Abu. I think he's already on a booking. Well, I don't want to be that guy, Sam, but think there's going to be a red one that's going to be popping out in a second.
But it's rash. We see it so often, don't we, trying to make up for the mistake. And just dived into the challenge, never going to be able to get anything on the ball. Well, the gloves were coming off, weren't they?
They were. Okay. So Chelsea are down to 10. Derrick Abu giving his marching orders, so task gets a little bit harder now. 10 minutes to play. Chelsea down to 10. Well, we asked for a test of character. Very much a test of character now. Sturge. Bergstrom very nearly had that nicked off his toes, but Harvey Vale has done the same to Robinson. Now Cassidy, Vale, lovely pop and go from Cassidy and Vale, brilliant link up. Mubama does well. Here's Chester's. It's a good header from Mubama. Derrick Abu, the player that Chelsea are going to have to deal the rest of the game without. Booked in the first half. You'll remember that little clip round the corner from Sawyer, and looks he was driving into the box. Bit of a coming together, and in his second bookable, referee eventually gave him his marching orders.
Yeah, a lesson for him a little bit, isn't it? Just not committing yourself to ground, really. You have to say, I mean, he's not made too many challenges in the game, but yeah, both of them probably warranted yellow cards.
Referee's pointing at the ball, but doesn't look like it. Louis Zal got a touch on it, according to the referee. As you can hear,
it looked like a foul, didn't it? But the referee was adamant that it was the West Ham player's toe that just poked it away. Webster driving forward.
Castillo. It's a lovely ball across. Dealt with eventually by Skulls. Let's have a look at this then. Does Louis Zal get anything on the ball? Charlie Webster breaking through.
It's a foul, doesn't it?
There's a little bit, yeah. Castillo to Cassidy. That's to Juan Castillo. Vale. Burstow back to Vale, brilliant. Wonderful football from Chelsea, and how has that not gotten in? I think it was Dion Rankin closing in at the far post. Chelsea can't believe they're not on level terms. And they could be further behind here as Mubama. I'll get your take on that in just a second, Sam, because Mubama wriggled away from a nothing chance earlier and scored, so we'll stick with this for the moment. Here's Robinson. How on earth are Chelsea not on level terms?
It's brilliant play. Again, Harvey Vale, you're thinking when it falls at his left feet, just put loads of pace on that across the 6-yard box. Rankin arrives perfectly on cue. It just seemed to die, didn't it, in the 6-yard box? Maybe it was a little bit behind him. He just couldn't get enough on the finish. Looked to just kind of cushion it, maybe, as he was falling down. Just got stuck in the 6-yard box momentarily. What an escape.
We'll get a look at it now, and like you said, brilliant build-up play initially from Harvey Vale, and Mason Burstow's been doing this all evening, hasn't he? What's the Olivier Giroud deft of touch to nip the ball around the corner. And it's between Hutchinson and Rankin, isn't it?
I don't know if it strikes Hutchinson, but it's a brilliant 1-2. You think Rankin's just going to score? I think it does. I think a bit of the pace goes out of it. This is a bit of a collision with his teammate. Whether it was over the line, it's inconclusive, isn't it, from this angle? But again, the referee assistant, I actually glanced straight towards him. He held his kind of pose. The ball was cleared and he was still kind of by the corner flag, just making certain of his decision. Must have been close. You could tell from the two Chelsea players' reaction.
I think you have to say, in that instance, as much as it pains me to say, you've got to give the defenders you've got to give them the, I suppose, the benefit of the doubt if you can't see it definitively over the line there. I'm not sure whether we'll agree on that from you as a centre forward, but I think if you're going to have it both ways, you've got to have it that way, haven't you?
I can't believe I haven't seen it back. There were two of them there. I thought that, you know, down to 10, be a bit of a lack of numbers and be real precision. Chelsea are to make chances, but two players in blue and white on the far post looking to get the equaliser. Unfortunately, looks like maybe it was Hutchinson who diverted it away from the goal.
So look at it again here. Again, brilliant play from Harvey Vale. He's been such an influence since coming off the bench. Yeah, I think it's just almost a coming together, isn't it, between Rankin and Hutchinson?
It looks like Hutchinson maybe misses it. Rankin does turn it goalwards, and then it's a combination of the two that kind of takes the sting out of the ball, and it's just kind of creeping over the line.
I'll be honest, we've seen it 3 times now, and not once have I tracked the ball. I've just been looking at who it's actually come off all 3 times. Harvey Vale's got a knock, but thankfully is able to return. He looks like maybe he's had a bit of a flailing arm there or something, because he's got a slight wound to his face. Hopefully not one that's going to cause him much longer off the pitch, because momentarily Chelsea were down to 9. And with less than 4 minutes left of the original 90 minutes to play, every second certainly does count for Chelsea at the moment. Free kick in an advanced position. Caelan Casey and his West Ham teammates not looking too adventurous with this. That said, it's going to fall to Pia Forsen. Now Chelsea can break. Here's Charlie Webster, steps away from Potts, does really well. Keeps going, here's Hutchinson. Amari Hutchinson, good feet. Narrows the angle, defended really well. Webster's going to try and play it on. Defended well again, and it'll be a Chelsea corner. Good breakaway there though, Sam.
It was, just turned down the opportunity to strike it at Hutchinson until it was too late. There's a little tug on the shirt there. Referee missed on Charlie Webster, should have been a free kick. And the ricochet, I felt, was going to lead to a West Ham goal kick, but maybe it's evened itself out because Chelsea should have had the free kick award.
Corner to be taken then. Webster deep towards the far post. Headed back into a dangerous area, but Heggy's able to gather that one for West Ham, and will try and keep the ball as long as possible now.
Yeah, and in fairness to them, they haven't closed up shop in the second half. I think at 3-1, that kind of gave them the opportunity to do so, to be a lot more pragmatic, but they've looked to exploit Chelsea in transition and got in on a number of occasions, so it's not been a complete kind of backs to the wall effort from the Hammers, so credit for them keeping it as a really open spectacle.
Absolutely, it's been a great game of football. We'll keep coming back to it, saying about if you are a neutral joining us this evening, you've picked a good game to watch, because Chelsea still with minutes on the clock to try and find an equaliser at the least, but they are down to 10 men after Derrick Abu's sending off. Here's Amari Hutchinson. Castillo to his fellow substitute Harvey Vale, lovely feet. Zach Sturge, usually a left back, or seen him play left wing back. He's played in a back four, now a right-sided centre half in a back four, showing his versatility this evening. Here is Vale. It's a good cross towards the near post. It's dealt with though by Casey. Very good in the heart of the West Ham defence this evening. Another opportunity though for Charlie Webster to load the Chelsea box. Double change coming up for West Ham, and it will be Michael Forbes and Archie Woods, whilst Chelsea are ready in Jaden Wareham as we edge into the 90th minute. Keenan Apia Forson will be replaced by Archie Woods. A man that's had a very good evening in Kamari Sawyer. For Michael Forbes. Yet to see who Jaden Wareham will be replacing. Six minutes of additional time for Chelsea to get back in this then. Although Jaden Wareham's change will be momentarily paused for Chelsea to take the set piece. Charlie Webster. Near post. It's cleared only as far as Rankin. Here's Hutchinson. Gonna whip it straight back in. Vale. Can't get anything on it. Webster. Oh, it's a brilliant save. Another brilliant save from Heggie. Charlie Webster does everything right there, Sam.
He did wonderfully well to control it onto the target. Difficult ball to strike. Didn't catch it flush, but needed an outstanding save. And another one which I presume he saw late.
It's a deep corner this time. Towards Burstow, towards Cassidy. Only as far as Webster. Take a deflection, I think. No, maybe not. Goal kick.
It's a good idea again. It's got a fraction too much on the strike. Plenty of time left to carve West Ham open for another opportunity, and I think they've responded really well in this second half. You can see there's a confidence about the way Chelsea attack. This is really good as well, just keeping it alive. That's a great save. It really is.
I think there's been a number of players on the pitch that you could argue's been player of the match. I think the West Ham goalkeeper's definitely in that conversation.
Come on, Harris, come on! Yes, chance, big winner, chance!
Captain's performance from West Ham goalkeeper Christian Heggie. By Castillo, only as far as Robinson. Cassidy and Webster try and get rid, but Robinson does well. It's a thunderous tackle from Brooking. Wants to throw in as well, but won't get it.
Yeah, they've had two top performers tonight, haven't they? The goalkeeper, Heggie, and Mubama at the other end. And that ultimately could be the 3 points for them. A couple of outstanding saves. One from Burstow's header. You're likely to see a better save. PL2. Or anywhere across the competitions this weekend. It's a phenomenal save. He's just pulled off another brilliant one from Charlie Webster. But the centre forward's been excellent. He's finishing.
Could be in for a hat-trick here. Just on cue there, Mubama. And I know that...
Yeah, that's going in. It's forced Bergstrom into action as well, down to his left.
I know that this conversation will be happening up and down the country, no matter which team you support, but West Ham have been short of goals in the Premier League and gone out and spent some money on Danny Ings, but when you look at production line and someone like David Mubama, he's had a little sniff of first-team action in the Premier League against Arsenal as a late substitute for West Ham over the festive period. And certainly, if you're looking at a future, you can certainly see him playing a part because he, like you said, Sam, he's very, very good this evening. Late corner for the Hammers here. It's headed off the line. Bergstrom was perhaps impeded into coming out, but...
I think that's Jaden Wareham back there, isn't it? On the goal line, looks like Casey's going to get himself West Ham's fourth. Maybe a block on Bergstrom there. He wasn't able to get out of the 6-yard box, but that's what Wareham's doing there. That's a good effect.
Jaden Wareham, by the way, who's replaced Mason Burstow for the final few moments. Castillo forced all the way back to Bergstrom. Harvey Vale does really well to challenge that. Here is that chance.
Yeah, a little shove, isn't there, from the substitute. Forbes on Bergstrom, enables Casey to get the free header at the far post, but Wareham well placed to divert the danger away.
It's Webster. 90 seconds or so still to play here at Kingsmeadow. Chelsea looking for an equaliser. Referee pulls it back for a foul on Charlie Webster. Chance for maybe one or two players to step forward. Throw caution to the wind a little bit with time ticking away. And indeed it is Zach Sturge who's stepped forward to offer a bit more of a physical presence now. Mason Burstow's gone off and Cesare Casadei will no doubt be a target. In fact, it'll be Lucas Bergstrom who's going to take that. Referee wants to make sure that the ball is in the exact right position. Goes towards Casadei it was. Hutchinson's going to get there, but not enough on it. West Ham can stream forward with Chester's. Castillo does enough to force him at the substitute. He does well to win the ball, actually. Charlie Webster and Hutchinson can exchange passes, and time not on the side of Chelsea. Referee in the way of Casadei. Sometimes there are things that I'll never understand.
Drop ball, was it?
I think because the referee was in the way, technically he has to release the ball,
Okay.
but I think the 96th minute, I don't think it's necessary. Is that not the foul on Jaden Wareham? No. All the way back to Sturge. Time very much ticking away. In fact, we are past the initial allotted 6 minutes as Bergstrom goes long. It's going to find Harvey Vale though on the left-hand side. Casadei on the overlap, uses Casadei. Castillo, time very much against Chelsea now. Harvey Vale. Back to Castillo. It's gone for a Chelsea corner. We're into the 98th minute. Charlie Webster will get one final opportunity, we presume, to load the box. At the moment, this will be. Very nearly as well. It's Jaden Wareham. It's not over yet, though. Casadei with a flick on. Here is Wareham. Shot snuffed out in the end, and that is full-time. Chelsea's long, unbeaten run in the PL2 has come to an end. And it's their neighbours from across the capital that have inflicted it. An early goal from George Earthy before Divin Mubama doubled West Ham's advantage. Charlie Webster got Chelsea back in the conversation before Mubama had his say again on the stroke of half-time. 3-1 at half-time, and quite a lot of work for Chelsea to do. They did certainly get back into it with Mason Burstow with 20-odd minutes to play. Derrick Abu has then given his marching orders, and Chelsea continue to knock on the door, but in a frantic game of football. It's been a brilliant game of football, Sam Parkin. Chelsea have come up just short.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyable game this evening. I thought both teams going at it from the outset. Chelsea can't be too deterred because of some really good stuff in an attacking sense. Really good attitude in the second half in particular, I felt, as they chased the game, but just outdone by a few defensive errors tonight. And sometimes you give yourself too much to do, and I think that's probably how the staff will reflect on tonight. You can't give teams 2-goal head start. Then it went to 3-1, didn't it, at the end of the first half, and it was just a bit of a mountain to climb. But some really good individual displays, and you're not going to go throughout the season from the end of August to the end of the season unbeaten. So have to just wipe down and get on the next few weeks, and hopefully have some positive results and some big games that are to come.
Absolutely right, an enthralling game of football at Kingsmeadow this evening. began with West Ham taking the lead. Their high press causing Chelsea a few problems initially, and in turn would come to George Earthy, who could give West Ham the lead inside 13 minutes.
Yeah, it was difficult at the outset of the game, the way they set up West Ham, because they did go really high and aggressive, especially when Bergson was on the ball, and obviously he's made a costly mistake there. It's well finished by Earthy, just on the swivel, flashing it into the near post. Maybe a suspicion of offside there, just in between the two centre-halves, but flag stayed down and he finished it well.
West Ham then doubled their advantage. It was Casey who swept the ball back into the goal mouth, and Bergstrom's save initially from Mubama. Couldn't deny him on the second attempt, and Didier Mubama was going to have a big say in the proceedings this evening. That's his first goal of the night.
Yeah, he'd been quiet up to that stage, but he gets his name on the score sheet. You know, Chelsea don't react to that second ball, if you like. First ball going to happen. Sometimes you can lose a header, but it's that next phase you need to be a bit more secure with.
Immediate response, though, from Chelsea. Brilliant build-up play here involving Malik Mothersill, and then Charlie Webster emphatically finishing. Yeah,
brilliant goal. Wonderful build-up. Thought the front players linked incredibly well in the first half. Terrific awareness from Mothersill, and he knows exactly what he's doing there. Charlie Webster, that's not a fluke. He's not just trying to hit the target. He's cutting across the ball, aiming for that corner. And it had to be something special, didn't it, to be a goalkeeper who had a fantastic night.
Never scores a tap-in, Charlie Webster, does he? And again, that build-up play between Mason Burstow and Amari Hutchinson, very nearly fashioning Chelsea's equaliser.
Yeah, never really on song at this stage of the game. Needed the fingertip save. This is the big moment, isn't it? In retrospect, it's a couple of really poor mistakes, you have to say. Brooking has to deal with it, the first ball, and then Webster needs to show him on the outside there. Maybe Lucas Bergson will be disappointed he hasn't been able to get across and get a hand on it, but yeah, the centre forward had a good game. Mubama, impressed with him throughout. Keeps hold of the ball well, and at this stage, if someone had told you that's going to end up in a goal, you wouldn't have believed them. You know, it's 3v1. Goalkeeper Chelsea well placed to deal with that. That's a really good, accurate finish from him in the end.
Yeah, it really is on the stroke of half-time, and we said at the time that certainly changes the tone of the half-time talk if you're going 2-1 or 3-1 down, but Chelsea in the second half came out knocking, and you mentioned the goalkeeper having a storming second half especially. Well, what a save this is from Christian Hegge.
It's outstanding, and it's a brilliant header from Mason Burstow as well. You just got to say that's a phenomenal bit of goalkeeping.
Chelsea did, though, get the reward in the end. Harvey Vale was immediately involved since coming off the bench, and Mason Burstow got his reward.
Brilliant goal, wonderful stuff from Hutchinson. Good weight of pass. Harvey Vale knows when that's travelling towards him. He's got one touch to put it on a plate for Burstow. Burstow just keeps himself away from the defenders, stays in between players, in space. Harvey Vale finds him. He deserved that goal. I thought he was really good tonight. That was an 8 out of 10 performance from Mason Burstow.
West Ham did have a few chances in the second half as well. Like you mentioned in commentary, Sammy, they didn't really shut up shop at any point. They were always on the front foot as well, trying to affect things, and you've got to give them credit for that, because I suppose that's why it was such a good game of football.
Yeah, and Chelsea looked opened, you know, when they just got back into the game on a few occasions. West Ham almost immediately made them pay. And yeah, on another night there could have been more goals in the game. It was a real open, entertaining affair. West Ham had a go themselves. A number of chances in the second half on transition.
Another impressive figure for West Ham was Kamari Sawyer. We saw go close there, and he was also involved in this tangle, which saw Derrick Abu's second booking of the evening, although quite a few players involved, and I think it took the referee a little while to find his card, and eventually it's read out.
And you'd have felt that would have been the end of Chelsea's challenge, but it wasn't, and I think that's testament to the players tonight. Went down to 10. Yes, tactically things change a little bit, and it's more about guts and tempo, fitness, but even with the 10 men, they created a number of chances, especially down this left-hand side. Harvey Vale had a really good effect when he came on, and how that stays out, I don't know. A really good move crafted down the left, and you'd expect one of those two players in the picture just to poke it home. The chances kept coming.
Absolutely did. Charlie Webster here. Lovely controlled volley, and again, another top-class save from the goalkeeper.
Yeah, Heggie had a brilliant night, you have to say. Second half, 2 massive saves. You think it's past him, and somehow he just flashes right hand at the ball and diverts it wide.
Absolutely right, yeah, good performance from the West Ham goalkeeper. A good performance all round, to be fair. I think it's been a fantastic night of football, but it's only just the start of a weekend of football here on the Fifth Stand Up. Make sure you join us for what's coming up over the next couple of days, including tomorrow morning. We'll be across the London derby, Chelsea versus Tottenham in the Under-18s Premier League. 5 to 11 we get going for that one for an 11 o'clock kickoff. And then on Sunday, it's the Women's FA Cup, Chelsea versus Liverpool at Kingsmeadow. 5 to 1 for a 1 PM kickoff for that one. Sam, thank you very much for your company this evening, mate.
Cheers, Joe.
A brilliant game to watch. Unfortunately, it's not gone Chelsea's way. It finishes here at Kingsmeadow, Chelsea 2, West Ham United 3.